So I done something the other night that I hadn't done in several years, and it may be over a decade. And I sat down and watched the Grammy Awards. I had finished up some of my work earlier in the day, so I thought I would sit down and see what the show was about since I hadn't watched it in so long. I have a pretty unique opinion about music and the industry, and how the awards shows can be run or should be run, things like that. But I think the big talk about the awards show, even before that, we saw the Cardi B memes compared to Dr. Seuss and the cancel culture. It's just an interesting subject, and the comparison was interesting between the two. And if you've seen the performance, or if you hadn't seen the performance, go watch it. It's probably on YouTube somewhere. But a lot of people were talking about, how bad the performance was. I think more of the criticisms came from the subject matter that they were singing about, even though it was censored, And we can see performances like that on TV they're pushed to the limits for performance, for people to talk about. One person mentions it to 10 people, and those 10 people spread it around. It's good advertising for the artist. Good controversy keeps their names in people's mouths. And on the other hand, we have the Dr. Seuss issue, which you can go on the Dr. Seuss website and you can read about how the company decided to take away these 6 books. And some people argue and say that's still censorship. The company took away their books because for whatever reason, they can use any kind of reasoning or justifications that they want. They're not regulated by the FCC, but Grammys are regulated by FCC. If you push those limits for the FCC, and they'll fine you, and the fines are pretty hefty. So I've learned that, skipping back to the cancel culture thing, I've learned that it is usually referred to subjects involving free speech or censorship, which that has a deep history in itself. And even cancel culture as it exists is has a deep history, because we've seen cancel culture before. It's just earned itself a label, because everybody's had a bad shopping experience at a store. They didn't want to shop there anymore, and bad review. They told 10 friends. You decided not to go there. You won't spend your money there. I've heard people talk about even Walmart like that. Some of your maybe local grocery stores like that they weren't going to go spend money in their stores anymore because maybe a statement or something that they done. So they canceled them out. And I can remember when I was a kid, Procter & Gamble was under the spotlight for a symbol that they used on all their products, and people were accusing them of being satanic, and they were saying how to boycott those products, aka cancel them. People weren't going to support them anymore because they believed it was a satanic symbol. It's not anything new for the cancel culture. It's not anything new for freedom of speech. We have choices that we can make. Businesses have choices that they can make. So we had the Grammys, or the network made a choice to put these people on their show, push the envelope a little bit, get a little bit of talk stirred up. And, like I said, that's nothing new. I remember going back in my childhood, back to the year of 1991, when Prince done a performance of his song Get Off. And in that performance, this happened before a lot of you were born, some of you that are listening. But in that performance, Prince came out in the outfit. Things looked still risky when they hit the stage. What you saw when he first hit the stage was, his band members were playing. We had 6 or 7 people in a group. with Speedos and thongs, body paint, grinding on each other, in the floor, just everywhere and around. That was shocking in itself. But as the performance went on, you began to notice that Prince's outfit, his booty was hanging out. Was it bare? No, it wasn't bare, but the clothing he had on was see-through, and you could see it specifically. And he turned around and showed it to the camera. We didn't have the internet then, so there was no taken to the internet that canceled him out. Yeah, there was talk about it. There was articles wrote about it. But there was no talk of we're going to ban Prince and we're going to get rid of him. I think at that time, everybody knew his history and the things that he had done in the past had been even more scandalous, especially if you bought his records. Now, this can be freedom of speech, but on a network, like I said, FCC regulates that. But let's go back to Elvis. His performances on television, he was told not to dance. In some places, he couldn't dance. They didn't want him shaking his hips on TV. What about the Doors? They were told not to sing specific lyrics on air. There's been several of these artists that have been told specific things not to do, but yet some of them done it anyway, and they pushed the envelope. We even know when NWA came out, they were being investigated for their songs about police. Same thing with Ice-T and the songs from Body Count. Remember 2 Live Crew. As nasty as you want to be. They went to court, went to Supreme Court over that. Now, if you remember Tipper Gore, you remember the issue that she was pushing about the censorship and trying to get rid of certain artists. Even I think it was Warrant the band had a song they called Ode to Tipper Gore, where it's just a string of curse words on their CD. So it's something that dealt with over time. It's just that pushing of the envelope, the freedom, what exactly defines freedom and how far can you push it? When do you pull back the reins on it? We're always going to see somebody try and step up and one up the next one to keep people talking. So it's not going to be something that's going to go away. But I mean, they had their court cases. 2 Live Crew won their court case. They come out with their song "Banned in America." They were one of the bigger cases. I think you heard like Dee Snider and some of the other artists get involved in that type of stuff. If you look on CDs, cassettes, well, we don't really have that today. But if you look on them, you'll see the parental advisory, explicit lyrics. That's what those labels were put on there to warn people. Even like the podcast here and online, we have explicit markings on them when shows have certain topics. Is it a way of censorship or alert, or what is it? What are the limitations? What are we willing to put up with? What are you willing to watch? Does it catch you by surprise? I don't think it really catches you by surprise, especially when you know certain people's history. The biggest thing you can do is, if you're taking this as a family show, you educate your family on it and you make it a topic to talk about, so you can learn from things like that and you can move forward from there. So I want to know you guys' thoughts. If you have any thoughts, leave comments and just hear your opinions. I think it's interesting to hear. Interesting topic. Comparison of the two. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Mini Talks. Catch my episode 39 that's coming up. I should be releasing it within the next couple of days, where I interview Officer Ashley Smith. And it's a really good interview that you don't want to miss. But I'll catch you guys on the next episode of Mini Talks.